Welcome to the Great Detectives of Old Time Radio. From Boise, Idaho, this is your host, Adam Graham. In a moment, we're going to bring you this week's episode of The Big Story. But first, if you are enjoying the podcast, please follow us using your favorite podcast software. And our listener support and appreciation campaign continues. You can become one of our ongoing Patreon supporters for as little as $2 per month. Just go to patreon.greatdetectives.net. But now, on March 9th, 1948, here is Respected Chemist Dead.
The Big Story.
I was up on the road near the dam when it happened. All of a sudden, there was an explosion, and then I saw this car down here burning.
Take it slow, mister, will you? I'm trying to write this down in my report.
I ran right down here, but the heat drove me back. Then I called you state police quick as I could.
Near as I can make out, someone must have gotten out of the car and staggered over here to the river.
But what happened to him?
What do you think?
Oh, the body. It went over the dam.
If he was lucky, he was dead when it happened.
All that water, thousands of tons of it.
Pouring down like a rain of steel. We'll never find his body now. Never.
The Big Story. Here is America. Its sound in its fury, its joy in its sorrow, as faithfully reported by the men and women of the great American newspapers. Cleveland, Ohio. From the pages of the Cleveland News, the authentic story of a reporter who found that death can make a piece of fiction come to life. Tonight, to Ike McAnally of the Cleveland News goes the Pell Mell Award for The Big Story. Now, the story as it actually happened. Ike McAnally's story, as he lived it. Cleveland, Ohio.
Every city seems different, except when you get down real close to it. Then, you know that they're all alike. A city lives because of its people. And in the stories that you, Ike McAnally, write for the Cleveland News, you tell what happens to them. Sob stuff, laughs, and heartbreak. The obituaries and the birth notices, side by side. And on this cold December day, as you head for an interview with the wife of Dr. David Wagner, the whole picture of the city suddenly narrows down to one small frame. For in the window of the Wagner house is a wreath of Christmas. And below the nameplate on the door is a wreath of black.
What more can I tell you, Mr. McAnally?
Your husband's Agnes, Mrs. Wagner. They identified his car by the license plate. But the way it exploded, the police can't figure it out.
Dr. Wagner was a chemist.
I know.
He was on his way to Philadelphia to demonstrate a new process for purifying water. There were chemicals in his car. In some way, they must have caught fire.
Bump in the road, broken bottle in his luggage. Any one of a dozen pigs could have done it.
He was good. He was kind. I love him so much. It's as if he's still with me.
I'm very sorry.
He was always promising the children that we all go away on a long vacation. He had so little time to spend with them.
I should mind my own business, but why don't you go away with the children? There's the insurance.
No, there isn't.
You mean the doctor didn't carry a policy?
He carried one all right, for $50,000.
But you just said...
It's this way, Mr. McAnally. The insurance company claims it has no proof of death. Our broker, Mr. Murray, has been arguing with him, but it's no use.
I don't get it. They found the car.
But they didn't find my husband.
And under company rules, you have to wait 7 years before being paid.
My husband's just missing, they say.
It's a rotten deal. A man works to make sure that his wife and kids will be taken care of. It's not right to let it all go for nothing.
Excuse me.
Of course. Company rules. Forget about people. Remember the rules.
Hello?
Is Ike McAnally there, please? This is his office.
Just a moment, please. It's for you.
Thank you. Guy sent her this letter.
Hello.
Oh, what's the matter with you?
Huh? Oh, Carol.
Grab an aspirin. Just pick something off the AP wire. Seems a guy went into a Philadelphia bank and cashed $5,000 worth of traveler's checks.
So?
Tell that dame you're interviewing that she may not be a widow after all. The guy who cashed the checks identified himself as Dr. David Wagner.
Look, Murray, if anyone knows Wagner's business, it's you. You handled his insurance and his traveler's checks.
Well,
Didn't Wagner sign these checks?
I'll admit it looks like his signature, McAnally, but I don't see how it could be.
Why not? The clerk who gave him the money identified him perfectly.
He could be wrong. 5 people can look at one man, and each will give a different description of it.
But they all couldn't forget a signature like this.
No? The prisons are full of men who could write your signature blindfold.
You know Wagner signed these checks, Murray. Why don't you admit it?
Look, McAnally, you're not just asking me to verify a signature. You want me to say that David Wagner's alive.
Doesn't this prove it?
McAnally, will you listen to me for a minute? I want to see David Wagner alive as much as anyone else, but to go on such flimsy evidence as a check that could have been forged to raise a woman's hopes that her husband is alive.
Be reasonable, Murray. I don't know what Wagner's up to. The cinch he's on a disappearing act of some kind.
Well, I don't see it. I don't see it at all. What reason could he have for making believe he was dead?
I don't know. That's what I have to find out.
Where do you begin? Where do you find the reason for a respected, successful man suddenly vanishing without a trace? Somewhere in this man's life, there must be an answer, perhaps obscure and hidden, but you know it has to be there. You ask the woman who's closest to him. If anyone holds the key, it must be his wife.
No, there's nothing. You're all wrong, Mr. McAnally. It isn't so.
But Mrs. Wagner...
If he were alive, he'd be with me. He'd come back to his home and his children.
But he is alive. And he hasn't come back.
Of course, it has to be that. David would never stay away. He's sick. He has to be.
Sometimes, Mrs. Wagner, things get so real that you can't believe them. They swell up, get big right in front of your eyes, but you don't see them because you don't know.
No. He wouldn't. He wouldn't.
Try to understand. I say your husband's alive. Why he hasn't come home, I don't know. But you've got to help me find it.
The wind from the lake whips sharply against the window, and the cold comes into the room. You want to run outside and get away, but you can't. You have to sit there and watch as part of a woman's life slips away.
I've tried to think of a reason, but there doesn't seem to be any.
Yes?
Except for something I might have done.
I don't think so. Tell me, Mrs. Wagner, was your husband in debt? Perhaps trouble of some kind?
I don't think he could find time for trouble.
How do you mean?
He seemed to be busy every minute. There was his work, his athletic club, his paintings, so many things.
Yes, this portrait on the wall. I've been looking at it.
That's one of David's. Isn't it good?
Very.
The Willard Art Museum once held an exhibition of just his work.
The way he caught the face of this girl. Almost lifelike. It seems to me I might know her. Do you know her name, Mrs. Wagner?
No, I don't know. She posed for my husband a few times.
Oh, I see.
I'm sorry to cause you so much trouble, Mr. McAnally.
I guess it's the other way around. It's become just a little more than a story to me. I'm in this all the way. Well, it's finished.
Who are you?
Ike McAnally. I'm with the Cleveland News.
Oh? You're taking a poll or something?
Sure. Can I come in?
Okay. Well?
Miss Jenny Logan?
You pressed the right button, sir.
I need some help, Jenny. I'm doing a little research on a guy named David Wagner. The art agency gave me the name.
What kind of research? I just modeled for him a few times, if that'll help.
Well, you heard about his accident, I guess.
Yeah, real rough. Poor guy.
Rough on his wife, too. The kid.
Well, what do you do? That's the way things go.
Not always. This may come as a shock, Jenny. David Wagner is still alive.
You're crazy. The paper I read he was drowned.
But they never found the body.
They couldn't. All that water going over the dam.
You know all the details, don't you?
Works for the guy. Couldn't help being interested in what happened.
Better get that coffee over there, Jenny. It'll boil over on the floor in a second.
It's funny you're coming to me like this. What could I know about Dr. Wagner?
Well, you know how it is. I just have to check up on everyone. By the way, you seem to be kind of hip on mysteries yourself.
What do you mean?
What a book you've got here. A living corpse.
Don't you open that book. Why don't you mind your own business? I didn't ask you to come up here and go snooping around. Now get out of here before I call the super, you hear me? Get out. Get out!
Oh, miss, could you help me, please?
We try to keep the library as quiet as possible.
Sorry.
Now, what is it you wanted?
A book.
Naturally. But which one?
Well, it's just a cheap little detective thriller.
I see. Its name, please?
The Living Corpse.
The Living Corpse?
It's for a friend.
That's a great classic, sir, written by Leo Tolstoy.
It is?
Of course, it's a wonderful story. Don't you know it?
I'm afraid not.
Well, it's all about a respectable, well-established man who fakes his own death so that he can escape from a wife he no longer cares for. Then, by taking on a new name, he goes away with his sweetheart to begin a new life. It's a beautiful story. But, sir, don't you want the book? Slam the door quietly.
Yes, miss?
One-way ticket to New York, please. And hurry.
Going someplace, Jenny?
We'll be back in just a moment with tonight's Big Story. This is Cy Harris, returning you to your narrator and the big story of Ike McAnally, as he lived it and wrote it.
You, Ike McAnally of the Cleveland News, now find yourself in the middle of the strangest story you've ever covered. You know that Dr. David Wagner had made it appear that he'd been killed. And for a while, your idea doesn't make sense. Wagner was living a secure, respected life, married and with 2 kids. Why should he want to disappear? But then you hit upon an answer. A famous book with a plot that gives you the reason.
Going someplace, Jenny?
What? Mr. McAnally.
You were in awful hurry, Jenny. The boys at the cab stand remembered you.
Well, you could have brought me a box of candy. After all, I'm going on my vacation.
Let's go in the waiting room. It's not so noisy.
Okay. I can give you a minute.
This way.
Well, what's on your mind?
That book, Jenny. The Living Corpse by Tolstoy. David Wagner gave it to you.
No.
He gave it to you. And now you're leaving to meet him.
You're crazy. I haven't seen him in months.
You're lying. Wagner's in love with
Why
you.
don't you let me alone?
How can I? This isn't just between you and Wagner. He's got a wife and kids, remember?
What can I do about it?
You can let him alone. You can tell him to come back where he belongs.
You don't know what you're asking. There's some things you can't stop. Jump in front of a train and see if you'll even slow it down. This is the same way. David, me, you and his wife. None of us can do anything about it.
And you are in love with him.
Sure. You know. This isn't a thing I want to lie about. It's something too good for that.
Listen, you're all. Taking a man away from his home, leaving a wife and children without a dime, you can't call that good.
David left me his insurance. 50,000 of it.
But the company won't pay off.
We've got a right to our lives, to do what we want.
If you don't hurt anyone by doing it.
You can't stop us. We're not breaking any law.
I admit that. But I can spread your pictures over every front page in the country. They'll be known everywhere. They'll never get a minute's rest.
All right. What do you want me to do?
Promise me that wherever you and Wagner go, you'll let us know where you are, the names you're using.
We will. We will.
I want your promise that Wagner will always provide for his family. I can't stop you from going to him, but I can make you give me your word on that.
David will take care of his family. I promise.
I'm sorry to bust in on you like this, Mrs. Wagner, but it's important.
You sounded so excited on the phone.
Yeah, well, I should have. Now, here. Look at this.
What is it?
A money order. Paying the premium due on your husband's insurance.
What? I don't understand.
Who's this Charles Arnold who signed the money order?
I haven't the faintest idea.
There's something funny about this.
Wait a second.
What's the matter?
The typing on the money order.
You recognize it?
The letter Y. See it? The place where the line breaks off, and the V. How the side of it thins out.
I see it.
This was typed on my husband's machine. I know. It's a portable he took away with him.
Well, then this clue makes the signature on the traveler's check mean something now. I'm convinced that McAnally's right. Your husband is alive, and with this, we're going to find him. My apologies, Ike. Here's some evidence to prove you were right.
Thanks, Murray. You're sure this type checks with your husband's machine, Mrs. Wagner?
Of course it does.
I'm certain, Mr. McAnally.
Well, what do you make of it?
I think David Wagner's still alive.
Well, naturally he is, but where?
I hate to disappoint you, Murray, but I don't know.
Look, the money order was sent from New York. Track him from there.
There wouldn't be any use in that.
What's the matter with you? Don't you want to find him?
I don't think so.
McAnally, you're out of your mind.
It's all right, Mr. Murray. I'm sure Mr. McAnally knows what he's doing.
Mrs. Wagner, I think you've known all along that I was right. That your husband was alive.
Yes. I've known.
I found out why he went away, and I want you to know that, too.
Have you been holding out on us?
You're just a bystander, Murray. Now keep quiet.
All right, go ahead.
I wouldn't tell you, Mrs. Wagner. I didn't think you'd understand and accept it.
I'll try to. Where is David, Mr. McAnally?
The place, I don't know. It's not important now. The real thing is why he went away. I think he was crazy for doing it.
You haven't told me why.
Your husband went away, Mrs. Wagner, because he fell in love with another woman.
Did you have to tell her that?
She wants to live with the truth.
It would be easier not to.
You wanted me to tell you, didn't you?
Yes. I guess I did.
All right, who's the girl? Who is she?
Jenny Logan, the one who modeled for that painting there on the wall.
Where is she?
With you.
Who told you all this, Mr. McAnally?
The girl? Well, rather, she confirmed what I guess.
And you let her go to him?
No one could have stopped her.
If she loved David, she would have gotten to him some way.
Yes, but she was the only trace to your husband. McAnally, you deliberately let her go. You threw away our only chance of finding him.
Murray, listen.
No, you listen. You've been going around crying how sorry you were for Mrs. Wagner and how rotten the company was not to pay off the insurance.
I'm trying to help.
Oh, sure you are. That's why you turned this girl loose to break up a family. McAnally, you're a fake. You just want a story. You don't give a second thought to this family.
Stop it! Stop it! What's the sense of any of this? Even if David did come back, he'd always be lost to me now.
It's 3 miles back to the office, and you walk every step of it. You think of Jenny Logan and the promise she'd made. There should have been some word by now. She'd had plenty of time. But like David Wagner, she too had disappeared. And as the weeks and months go by, it's hard to forget that it was you who'd let her go.
McAnally.
This is Murray. I've got some news for you.
What's up?
I just thought you'd like to know that David Wagner's insurance policy expires tonight at 12 o'clock. The quarterly premium hasn't been paid. Nothing's come in since the last money I showed you.
Now you tell me. Why didn't you let me know sooner? I could have raised the money.
Mrs. Wagner told me not to. It's her problem, she said. And just between us, McAnally, I don't think she cares anymore.
Who can blame her?
But that policy is her one protection. You can't cancel it.
No, but the company can. Sorry. Maybe now you know what a mess you've made of things.
Why the champagne, David?
We're celebrating, Jenny. Our last day in Vienna.
And now? Now where do we run to?
Another city. Budapest, perhaps?
What name shall we use there?
Cheer up, Jenny. If you like, we'll keep the ones we have now. Here's a toast. To Anna and George.
I don't mean to complain, David. It's been wonderful. All of it. I've seen all the places I used to read about. And the clothes, they're just as beautiful as you said they were.
I saw you packing this morning. Why?
I'm sending in my kid sister. She'll be crazy about me.
Dear little Jenny. Still thinking about home.
And you? Have you forgotten?
No. I remember.
It's like that book you gave me, David. The people in it tried to forget. They tried to build a wall between themselves and the past. But they couldn't.
Everything ends.
I know, David. And this too.
But our lives back home have also ended.
I keep thinking about what that reporter said to you. We've got a right to our own lives, to do what we want, as long as we don't hurt anybody by doing it.
You keep your promise. I'm taking care of everything.
I was never worried.
And us. What shall I do about us?
You decide, David. I'm not afraid.
Then we'll always be together.
Always.
Look out of the window, Jenny. The beautiful world, isn't it?
And but for you, I'd never have seen it.
I love you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Together. Always.
The news comes back, and you've got the story of a girl who believed in paying off on a bargain. The words you write come slow and hard. For this is a story that touches the lives of everyone around it. On a warm spring day in Vienna, it ended for Jenny Logan and David Wagner. But for you and the others, it'll always live in memory.
In just a moment, we'll read you a telegram from Mike McAnally of the Cleveland News with the final outcome of tonight's big story. Now we read you that telegram from Mike McAnally of the Cleveland News.
Subsequent investigation into tonight's big story revealed fact that David Wagner left evidence in his room in Vienna as to his and Jenny's real identity. The double suicide took place an hour before midnight, on the day the insurance policy was to expire, so that Mrs. Wagner could collect the $50,000. My sincere appreciation for tonight's Pell Mell Award.
Thank you, Mr. McAnally. The makers of Pell Mell are proud to have named you the winner of the Pell Mell $500 Award for notable service in the field of journalism.
Listen again next week, same time, same station, when Pell Mell will present another big story. A big story from the front pages of the Seattle Times. Byline, Don Magnuson. A big story about a reporter who made a winner out of a 3-time loser.
The Big Story is produced by Bernard J. Proctor with music by Vladimir Zelinsky. Tonight's program was written by Alvin Boritz. Your narrator was Bob Sloan, and Sidney Smith played the part of Ike McAnally. In order to protect the names of people actually involved in tonight's authentic Big Story, the names of all characters in the dramatization were changed, with the exception of the reporter, Mr. McAnally. Saturday, March 12th, marks the 37th birthday of the Girl Scouts in the United States. This is Girl Scout Week.
Welcome back. Sidney Smith is another one of those actors who worked in a great detective series, starring as Ellery Queen for quite a while. In addition to Mr. Smith, the cast included Ann Burr, Agnes Young, Lyle Sudrow, and Ted Osborne. I will say first off that I really don't like this title because obviously the chemist was not dead. And there has to be something more appropriate. But it's one of those cases. It's the second straight day I'm using a title I'm not crazy about. The issue with the Larry Simons case yesterday was minor in that the spelling really is Simmons that are on the files, but there are too many M's if you listen to any appropriate spelling of Simons. This is a little more egregious, but again, I'm not trying to compound confusion out there in the larger old-time radio collecting community by adding alternate titles. But beyond that, I thought this was a really solid episode. Most of the time, it is pretty straightforward on this series to just solve whatever the case is. But this one portrayed some of the complexities that can enter into this, particularly when you're dealing with a case where, as he said, there's no crime. So you can't make these people do anything. And so all McAnally could do was bring some pressure on, which is what he did. And I really thought it was a great scene where they confronted him and he told the wife about the affair. And it's just such a great conflict, where she wants to know, but she doesn't. And, I think it's very realistically written, particularly within the guidance of the times. And I think it's a bit more of a complex case from both a moral and emotional perspective. Now, in terms of the story itself, it's pretty close to what actually happened in the core facts. The time frame is a big difference. The actual disappearance happened in late 1929, which would be important. Now, by this point, McAnally had actually moved on to the New York Daily News. But back in 1929, he had been on the Cleveland News and wrote about the disappearance of Dr. Ernest Watzel. One minor difference was that the lover was Watzel's private secretary, but she also did modeling. And she also disappeared, and she was married, and her husband actually sued Watzel for loss of affection, even though he could theoretically be dead. Now, doing this in 1929 probably assured the result of the suicide, because essentially they ran on like a worldwide trek. They went to New York and got married, obviously not legally, and then they fled to Canada. They nearly got caught. They went to Tokyo, and then to India, couldn't find work, and then they went to Europe. And again, we're quoting from the stories behind the big story here, Dr. Joe Webb. And so they got fake passports and ended up in Austria. And the money that he'd been carrying with him began to run out. And so then you had this murder-suicide. And it was done on the day that the next premium was due. Now, there's no information here in Dr. Joe Webb's analysis that it was done, as McAnally said in the episode, an hour before midnight. That sounds really dramatic, but it raises some key questions. Because an hour before midnight Vienna time is not an hour before midnight Cleveland time, Eastern, I believe, or New York time, depending on, I guess, on where the insurance policy was at. So as dramatic as the whole last hour was, I don't think that's justified at all. Now, the biggest inaccuracy, though, did not actually come from the news reporting or from the narration of the story. It came from our librarian. Now, if you'll recall, Ike thought that The Living Corpse was some sort of pulp novel, but it was actually by Leo Tolstoy, and it was a play, and she didn't correct him on what it was. But here's how she described the play. Well, it's all about a respectable, well-established man who fakes his own death so that he can escape from a wife he no longer cares for. Then, by taking on a new name, he goes away with his sweetheart to begin a new life. It's a beautiful story. I don't want to be a poser. I am not some expert on Leo Tolstoy, but as someone who has been educated at all, I think I had some in high school and had something I had to read from him in college. I mean, that sounds like a Harlequin romance novel. And so I looked it up, and no, that is not the plot of the play The Living Corpse at all. But I do understand why it was referenced, because the story does parallel both what happened in this episode as well as the real life incident. The man runs away not primarily to be with the sweetheart, but because he can't deal with responsibility. He runs away from it. And the relationship with the woman he'd fallen for pretty much falls apart, and he runs away from that too when her family doesn't approve of him. But his lack of responsibility isn't something that only has effects on him. As it turns out, his wife actually believes he died, and then she marries again, but then somebody finds evidence that he's still alive, and she gets charged with bigamy. And the play ends with him committing suicide. And his reemergence and committing suicide ends up clearing her of the crime and allowing her to avoid being sent to Siberia. And the events of that story really do parallel here. And you can kind of feel that when you get into the final scene. There is this sense, in the way the actors play it, portrays this exhaustion with the continual running away. So The Living Corpse is a great analogy for this story, and I think an inspiration for how the writer approached it. The lines given to the librarian are way off the mark. Part of the challenge may be that you're wanting to tell a dramatic story, and if she actually explained what the book was about, it would come off as heavy-handed and it would spoil the ending. I guess if you want an in-universe explanation, maybe she's one of those bad librarians who wants to pretend she's read all the books, but she's read whatever they had for Cliff Notes in 1929, or just saw the play and is confusing it with another one. But she spoke with authority. But then again, so many people who are wrong do. Listener comments and feedback now, and we go over to YouTube where we have a comment regarding the episode Blind Date with Murder. Thanks so much for your commentary. It adds to the enjoyment that these provide. Well, thanks so much, and I try to add value for each podcast that I do. I do think that the big story is probably the one where the commentary is the most helpful because there are so many sort of real-life things to look into and investigate and talk about. So I definitely enjoy doing these particular episodes. Jeff comments regarding the same episode on Patreon, might be me, but why is the reporter going into two homes where there have likely been shootings and deaths? Totally compromises the crime scene. Also, the child portion of this story, as dramatized, feels cartoonish and unbelievable, made worse by some of the inappropriate carnival-like music. The whole episode feels off to me. The music part is interesting, and I'm not entirely sure with the music used whether the stuff that people have identified as circus music was something that was original to the program. I wouldn't think so, because I've not had any complaints about the music on the big story being off. And there's no reason it should be in this particular episode. I'm suspecting that this was added into the AFRS recordings because there were rules about including advertisements. So they were including the music to kind of transition a part where there was advertisements or commercial sponsors. That's my best guess. The other question that I can't address, but I want to address it by saying I can't address it, is the whole question of what was this reporter doing? And there are a couple of potential answers. There is the radio production angle, where him going into these houses before running into the killer is just simplified storytelling. You've got only so much time. You've already got the entire cast doubling up. You can't really introduce a policeman on the scene without complicating your story. The other possibility is that, keeping in mind when this occurred, the reporter actually could have entered the crime scene. Police were not nearly as stringent in some places, particularly in this area, which I believe was a suburb of Pittsburgh or on the outskirts of it. And you also had the fact that journalism was a bit of a Wild West situation. And there were a lot of reporters who were willing to do things they shouldn't in order to get a story. A reporter could stand outside a place where a murder had occurred and know that ideally he should probably call the police. In terms of civic duty, in terms of whatever understanding they had about preserving a crime scene. I've talked to people involved in crime scene investigation who insist that average patrolmen in the 21st century sometimes aren't great at preserving a crime scene or understanding what needs to be done there. So the reporter could have gone in for whatever reason, or it could be something where the radio writers decided to take a shortcut. And unfortunately, I don't have that level of detail to say for sure. But I do appreciate the comments so much. Well, now it is time to thank our Patreon supporter of the day. And I want to go ahead and thank Adele, Patreon supporter since April 2021, currently supporting the podcast at the Chemist level of $4 or more per month. Thanks so much for your support, Adele. And that will do it for today. If you're enjoying the podcast, please follow us using your favorite podcast software, and be sure to rate and review the podcast wherever you download us from. We will be back next Tuesday with another episode of The Big Story. Next Monday, we begin our second run through The Saint. But join us back here tomorrow for Broadway's My Beat, where...
Last wrists. Last week, my wife made me buy tickets to her play. All I could get was sometime next June. She was sold out that far. Last wrists.
You got here fast.
Beautiful, Danny. So... I never thought I'd stand so close to her.
I said you...
Yeah, how I got here. It was phoned in, Danny. Anonymous call. Said Lily Nelson was in trouble.
Anonymous?
We got a tracer on it, Danny. By the time you get back to headquarters, maybe...
You found her like this?
Yeah. The door was open. I walked under all these crystal chandeliers, past all the mirrors. Found her lying in front of this one, dressed like that. That material... It's like a veil, Danny. It's...
No one with her?
I looked through the house, no one.
Was she leave a note, anything?
Nothing, Danny. Just the razor blade by her side, that's all. Lily Nelson. You gotta go to ticket scalpers. Beg them to sell you a ticket overpriced just so you can watch her. Why should she kill herself? For what?
I hope you'll be with us then. In the meantime, send your comments to box13@greatdetectives.net. Follow us on Twitter at Radio Detectives, and check us out on Instagram, instagram.com/greatdetectives. From Boise, Idaho, this is your host, Adam Graham, signing off.